Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am Neel Jadhav. I look after marketing and growth at Katonic AI. And today I'm going to walk you through our most popular solution. We call it Katonic Ace. Ace is an enterprise co-pilot, and ACE is actually an acronym for AI co-pilot for enterprises. So we call it ACE for short. And I'm going to walk you through what is ACE, how is it different, and some use cases in terms of how you could possibly use it. The use case that I've chosen is a project management use case because it covers multiple areas where multiple teams are involved, and yeah, and we'll keep it easy, we'll keep it simple, and let's have some fun together. Yeah? So, a little bit about Katonic AI. We started off as a machine learning operations platform 4.5 years ago. We're headquartered out of Sydney, but we have offices in Singapore and India, and we also have presence in the Middle East and the US. These are some of the reports where we've been mentioned, we've been published. So Everest Group has featured us in their peak metric study. Frost and Sullivan gave us an award last year, and Google recently featured us in a case study where they talked about how using the Ketonic platform, organizations are seeing a very, very rapid ROI on the AI investments that they're making. These are some of our customers. We work with, so to give you a brief, some of our we have a customer which has a team of 25 people, and then we have another customer which has more than 10,000 people. So we work across the spectrum. We work with small organizations, we work with mid-sized organizations, we work with large organizations. Some of the logos are pretty popular. You would have seen them use their products, and happy to say that you're a part of the journey here. Uh, this is an overview of what Ketonic is. Let's start with probably the bottom right section because that's the beauty of the platform. It is completely infra agnostic. So you can install the Ketonic platform on any cloud, any public cloud. You can install it on-prem. You can even have a hybrid setup. Right? We always work in a single tenant kind of an approach where nothing comes back to Ketonic. Ketonic comes to you. So the platform comes to you. It gets installed on your infra. So you have complete control over your data flows, your data privacy, all your guidelines stay in place. The platform is, like I was saying, it was infra agnostic. It is also LLM agnostic or foundational model agnostic. So we support all models out there. So it could be a proprietary, a closed source model like Azure or OpenAI or Gemini, Cloudy, whatever you call it, right? Whatever you name it. Or it could also be an open source model like Llama. It could be Wen, Aleph Alpha. It could be any open source model. And we even support some of the Indic models which are available right now. There are three kinds of things that you can do using the platform, which first is what we're going to talk about today, which is the ACE Copilot. Then you have an app studio, essentially AI studio, which you can use to build any application. It could be a traditional application, predictive application, uh, or it could be a no-code Gen AI application, or it could be a mix. Right? And then you also have a place where you can deploy and fine tune open source models. So if you wanted to sort of fine tune your model, open source model using your own data, absolutely possible. You wanted to create your own model, that's also possible, right? And all of this is powered through some of the things like, for example, the block at the bottom left. We have pre-built connectors, so 100 plus connectors, which connect to any of these data sources. So take the example of ACE, right? ACE is a co-pilot which can be installed on your infrastructure, which connects to all your data sources, and which could be powered by any LLM. It could be an open source LLM, it could be an closed source LLM, and it could be a mix of two. So, and we'll walk through all of these things as we move forward. With that, let me actually get into the example that we're going to discuss now. So for the purpose of this demo, what I've done is you taking a hypothetical example. Think of a very large organization. Let's call it Acme. So Acme has 10,000 plus employees, billions of dollars of revenue, all of that, right? And they are coming up with a new product. Now, this product is actually a health device. Think of it like a smartwatch, and the product name is Universa. And we are going to see how an enterprise co-pilot like Ace can come in and help them with with the launch of this product, and how can it solve some of the common problems that you see with project management. Right? What are the problems that they're facing? So productivity is a huge challenge because they're heavily invested in technology. What has happened is that there are just too many tools, right? And data is spread across all of these tools, which are creating complications. Like take your own scenario, right? As in, where's your email residing? Where's your information residing? It's in your emails, it's on your Teams, it's in your Slack, it's in your Jira, Confluence, HubSpot, Google Analytics panel, you name it, right? As in, it's all spread over. And even if when you have to prepare a report, or when you need to find an answer, you have to go through all of these things individually and then prepare something, right? What does it lead to? It leads to a lot of wastage of time where you're just finding and collating information. You're not using your gray cells to actually derive insights out of it, or it's not smart work. Essentially, it's just work, right? Which is totally avoidable. So those are the problems that we're trying to solve here, right? So in this case, like I was saying, they are going ahead and launching a device called Universa. There are hundreds of people from tens of departments which are involved, right? All of these departments. Some of them are internal, some of them are external, which means that, and not every department or every person should have access to all information. So there needs to be access control, there needs to be, role-based access, all of those things need to be in play, right? So we'll that's what we are going to do here, right? And we are already seeing this with our customers, that whenever they're using this, they've come back and told us that we are saving at least 2 to 3 hours every single day, right? Because of this, right? So because they're able to find the right information spread across multiple places instantly, they're able to save a lot of time and effort, right? And there's really no learning curve involved as well, right? It's as simple as putting a query, typing what you want in plain English or whatever language you want, and letting Ace do the work. Now it doesn't matter if that information is in one place or multiple documents, or spread across multiple things. It will do the job of understanding your query, going and finding that information, putting it all together, and then presenting it to you in a ready-made format which works for you. Right? So enough of theory. Let's go and see actually how things work here. Right. So let me just now go here. So this is how the platform looks like. It's completely customizable. So we are assuming that if there was a corporation called Acme, this is what their logo would be. This is what their brand color would be. So this is how we've done it, right? So how Acme works is it lets you interact with all your data and do many many things for you through two ways. So first is a simple chat approach, another is a search approach, right? So let's start with, say, how search would happen, right? So typical search, you're used to Google search, right? But when it comes to looking for information internally, we really don't have a solution, right? So say I am new and I'm trying to look for something. So I'm looking for a policy. I'm just wondering how many policies are there, right? Because I don't know. Maybe I'm new, so I need to be familiar with a lot of policies. So if I say policy, it will. This is semantic search. It's actually hybrid search. So it's a mix of keyword plus semantic search. So it's telling me all the documents which are available here, right? In terms of information security policy, physical security, relocation policies, budget policies. My God, there are so many policy documents, right? So it's giving me all of that information, and it is also giving me a summary of what the policies are about. So it's telling me that these are all the policies, and these are all the sources from where it is picking up that information. And I can even ask follow-up questions, right? And if I click here, it's essentially telling me that these are the number of files that it has actually found, right? If all of them happen to be on the SharePoint, because this is how we placed it, but these policies could be on a HRI tool, it could be on a CRM, and all of those points would be shown here, right? So this is search. Now from a chat point of view, and I'm just giving you a glimpse of this first, to show you how it looks from a from a user point of view. Then we'll go to the backend to see from an admin point of view what are all the controls and what are all the advanced features that are available, and also how do we set it up, right? How do we set it up so it works for your enterprise? So we saw search. Now let's from a point of view of the chat function. Let's look at how do we go about it. So if I say how do I set up my local, I'll just fire this query. It is now searching. While it is populating that answer, let me just show you this. So these are all the sources which are connected, right? So these are all the places from which information is being pulled out. If I'm aware that some information is residing in a particular source, I can just click on this. So if I know that I want answers from Jira, I can just click here. If there are certain knowledge sets which I've created, pre-made knowledge sets for say certain projects, then I can click here. If I feel that there's a time range, right, in terms of I only want results from the last 24 hours, I can also do that, right? And we're continuously adding more to this. The next thing which is going to come is that in addition to my knowledge, I wanted to search Wikipedia. I wanted to search Google on Google. So that's an extension that we'll be adding here in a week or two. Right? So yeah, so this is you said how do I set up a local? That's the question that I came up with. So it's saying that for Mac OS this is what you do. This is the code and all these citations. It's showing that these are the two documents from which it has pulled out this information, and it's also telling me that these are all the other documents which are probably worth having a look at, because it's seeing that all of there might be relevant information in these documents as well, right? So that's what it is, and this is to first give you a glimpse of how the chat and search function works. What happens here is that because you actually see the documents, right, as in the hallucination control comes into play, where you know that these are the documents from which information is there. It's telling you these are the citations, and then you can actually click on a document and go and see it for yourself, right? We'll discuss all of this, but now for a second, let's see how we can make this a lot more relevant for your organization, right? So how do we start? So what will happen if you remember, Katonic installs on your infrastructure, right? So what will happen when we start working with you? The platform will first get installed in your cloud or on your prem, right? After that, we will set up a user base. How does it happen? We link to your Active Directory, right? So all the users will get imported here. All the roles, groups which are already created will get imported here. We can also actually create groups. For example, I see all of these users are there. I can just create a group for say project project X, right? I can just add users to this, and I can just sort of create a group, and I can determine access, right? And just hold on to this thought why I'm creating a group, because this works on two tenants. It works on the tenant that there are knowledge bases or set of knowledge or information which is available, and then there are groups which should have access to that knowledge, right? So we created groups, then we'll create knowledge, and then we'll sort of assign usage or access rights to this, right? So with me, so far what we've done is we've created user groups, right? Next we go ahead and create the knowledge. We sort of connect the knowledge, right? So how do you do that? So what we've done is this is where we really save time, and we're able to operationalize all of this in just a matter of a day or two, right? So we have all of these these connectors which are available. There are hundreds of connectors which are there. If a connector doesn't exist, then we can actually go ahead and build one as well, right? So there's SharePoint. You can consume APIs, Google Drives, GitHub, Jira, HubSpot. All of this is there, right? So let's take the simplest example. Suppose there's a website. Uh, Say you are an insurance company and you want to be aware of what IRDA is releasing on a daily basis, right? So you say enter the name, you give it say IRDA, whatever, and then you sort of decide the scraping. So you enter the URL, then you decide on the scraping method that you want the entire site or a single page or the site map. Then you decide whether you want this to be a one-time activity or you want this to happen on a periodic basis. So you decide that you do this every minute or you do this every hour, every hour, every day, every month, right? And then you assign a group to this. So you can also select all users, or you can select, say that I want my underwriting team to be aware of this, right? So that's it. So you assign a particular group to this, you're done, right? Suppose there are certain files that you want to add, you can just drag and drop those files, right? And then what happens is essentially these knowledge bases get created, right? So because we're discussing Universa, let's go here, right? So if I go here, all of these documents and links and folders are already connected. So this is the knowledge which is already available, right? Now that we understood how user management and knowledge management works, let's explore actually a few questions, right? In terms of to see that what are the kind of capabilities that ACE has, right? So now let's look at this universal use case. Now that we've seen how users can be added, how knowledge can be added. In this case, we already added a lot of documents. So you added stuff like product brief, media plans, minutes of meetings, initial sales plan, pricing, all of those things which you would expect are there, right? And they could be spread across multiple, applications and data source file systems as well, right? So let's start with this. So my first question essentially is that I'm say assume that I'm new to this and I want to get a hang of where things are, right? So I'm saying that what is the current status of the Universa project compared to the baseline, right? Highlight what are the significant variances that are already there in terms of schedule, budget, or scope, and answer this in a tabular format, and also classify each point depending on criticality. Because I'm new, I'm the project manager. If there are things which are delayed or which are critical, I better be aware of those things, right? So it's doing exactly that. So what has it done, right? It's looked at all the different documents, the base plan, the last minutes of the meeting, and then it's given me this chart. So it's telling me that UI refinements are high criticality and it's been delayed. Right, this was the deadline, but it doesn't seem like we are able to sort of meet that. And then it's also told me that these are the citations. So these are the documents it is found from which it is picking that information. So if I actually want to double check, I can click here, actually go to that document and then get that answer. And it's also telling me that these are the this is the way it is assigned high criticality, medium criticality, and low criticality. And if you go down, you actually get the set of documents, right? Now let's look at a few more questions to get a sense of what all capabilities does it have, right? So I'm saying that now when we launch this, right, as in you have to train your customer care team, right? So this is a question around that. So I'm saying that create a simulation from the for the customer support team for them to be able to handle FAQs, right? Which should come around, especially people with special needs, and give me a scenario where it's just not a one question and answer. This is, think of it like a conversation that is happening where you also get a pushback, right? So you should be able to do that, and it is giving me those scenarios. So it's saying conversation one is about understanding the accessibility features. It starts with this, and then there's a pushback, and then you explain that again, and it tells you that this is document one, document two. So it's picking up the answer from two different places, combining that, and as per the question, right? What is the context of the question? It is giving that relevant output there, right? Addressing privacy concerns. Will my data be used? It's saying it will not be used. Let's say, what if there's a problem or a privacy breach? It's also giving you that information, and it's telling you all the documents from which it is picking that information, right? After this, I'm saying that let's look at one more. Say we're talking about generating a report. Right? Let's generate a report on the performance of the paid marketing campaign. and answer this in a tabular format and compare the target plan versus the interim report and should show the variance, right? So let's see if it's able to do a little bit of analytics on, what was the plan. So it's, yeah, wow, these numbers look, yeah. So there you go. So it will do your calculations. It will, do your segregations. It will give you a channel-wise performance. And essentially, it's looking at the interim report and it's looking at the initial plan that was submitted and, sort of giving you these answers, right? Let's look at a few more questions here. Let's do one more follow-up question on this. So I'm saying that it's showing that these are the channels, right? Print, TV, all of that is there. Radio is also there, and then there's a mix of digital channels. So let's not define what traditional marketing is or advertising is, and still ask a question. Let's say if I remove the traditional advertising spends, where would you reallocate the marketing budget, and how do you think it will change the projections of the expected results, right? So yeah, so it's let it populate. Wow, that's a long answer. Yeah, so it's rightly, so sorry about that. Yeah, so it's rightly chosen that these are the so print, TV, social media. This is the allocation. It's saying that we will remove print and TV from the budget, and it's actually maintained radio because it's actually doing giving a good ROI. So we can go through this in detail, but it's essentially doing the reallocation and also giving you a change in the expected result. Right? So it's able to give you these things as well. And let's go a little more further in this because I look after marketing. I'm going to say that can you create something for me? Like, can you create a social media calendar for me on the theme? Because this is a wearable device. Can you create a social media calendar for me, incorporating a day in the life with Universa, and generate a series of posts or content ideas that we can do. So it's actually picking a date, saying this is the date, this is what you could possibly do. See, the more you define in terms of the prompt, the better the prompt gets, the more it will be able to give you. And yeah, so it's essentially generated a plan. It's also looked at it looked at the audience that we're talking to, that we are supposed to address. This is the target audience, and then accordingly, sort of created a plan, saying that this plan is for the general audience, this is for young adults, this is for tech enthusiasts, and yeah, so it's generating a plan. It's pretty cool. Mm, let's do a few more. Let's do something around, say, let's do a SWOT analysis on this, right? So I'm saying create a SWOT analysis for the universal marketing strategy and consider the potential launch delays and the unique product features and answer in a 2 by 2 matrix. So yeah, there you go. So this is, it's not only created a 2 by 2 matrix for you, but it's also sort of put it all together, saying this is the information and this is what we're doing, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool. And probably maybe one more. Uh, Let me see if I can do one more. Let's do this. So I'm saying classify potential sales channels for Universa based on the expected effectiveness for different market segments. Right? So this is all the information it already has in terms of this. These are the channels that you have as an organization, and then it's sort of generating an effectiveness out of that. So the idea is to show you that it can find information, it can put together information, it can uh, do some bit of strategy work for you. It can generate insights. It can do analytics. It can do calculations. It can do a lot of these things for you. And this is how you could potentially use it, right? Now, from a admin point of view, there are some interesting features that you could possibly talk about as well, right? So we know by now that the better the prompt, the better the response, right? So while there is a search and chat feature which is available to you, you can actually also go ahead and create these dedicated apps for you. For example, this is something that we use on a very regular basis. So it's called an SEO optimized blog generator, right? So let's just click on this. It's a very simple app, and all I have to say is say, because I come from a airline aviation background, let me say write a 300 word blog post on the launch of a new flight from Mumbai to Bangkok by Golden Airways. So let's say name of the thing is Golden Airways. And while it is generating, let me actually show you. So what happens is you actually create these apps through Katonic agents, and all the apps that get created here automatically are available, uh, in Katonic Ace. So let me actually show you what I've done. So it's a very simple feature. You decide the model that you want. You set all of these parameters, temperature, token limit, all of that. This is where you actually add all the prompts, right? So this is the prompt that I've given, saying that this is the persona, these are the tasks that you need to do, right? All of these instructions, ensure formatting, and after that, please, I'm also asking it to tell the user that these are the things that it has done to optimize SEO here, right? That's it. You save it and you deploy it, and then it becomes accessible in the ACE solution. Right? So let's go back, and yeah, it has generated this. So this is the title. This is the yeah. There you go. So it's generated the entire blog, and it's also sort of given the meta description, the primary keywords, URL slug, semantic keyword. You have it, right? So this is just an example. You can actually, if I wanted to enhance this, I would actually put this into a like a SEO scorer, get the feedback, go back, improve the prompt. So that there you have it, and you can have any. You can have a meeting minutes of the meeting generator. You can have a tweet creator. You can have invoice extractor. You can have all of these apps that you can create very easily. All of them are no code applications. Right? Uh, Now that we've seen user management knowledge and we've seen how this works, let's look at the backend. Right? So let's start with configuration. You go to application settings. You can actually select which is the model that you want to run this. Right. So for now we are using GPT-4. You can. We also have a fallback option in case this model is not available, tokens are consumed, whatever. And you can also choose the multimodal, sorry, the embedding model completely, and all of these advanced settings are available to you, right? For example, uh, not to get too technical, let's look at what the brand voice is, right? So brand voice essentially is a feature where uh, you go on LinkedIn or you read a blog, all of them sound exactly the same. That's because everyone's using the same tool with the same prompt to get the same output, right? But every brand has a unique tone of voice, right? So what we do here is you select the brand voice that you want and save it, right? Then and you define the brand voices. So automatically, any output that you generate, it comes in this particular tone. So, for example, if we are an Aussie company, so we have a bit of Aussie slang that comes into our language. So we do that. Right? That's the brand voice for us. Right? Now, now let's go to one more thing, right? So responsible AI. So we build this on the foundation of security, right, and data privacy. PI redaction, PI protection comes out of the box. So name, location, organization, email, IP address, all of these things are just available to you. You know, you can block it, you can issue a warning, you can redact the information, or you can allow it to pass through. All of these are available to you just, just by toggling. Right? We also have organizational policies. So all the policies which you know, for example, say, because we are connected to say an HRS system, right? So you could have technically the this has access to salary information, but you don't want to it to ever answer anything around salaries. You just create a policy which says, which is around salary, and it anytime someone will ask a question around salaries, it will just block it, saying that this has triggered a policy, uh, and I am not allowed to answer questions around salaries. Right? Then let's look at the last bit. So there's a monitoring, very robust monitoring method here. Every information around everything, how this is being used by your employees is available here. What is the total cost? What are the number of requests? What's the latency right? Like, what are the kind of models that are being used? All of that is there. Every single request that has been made is logged, right? So you have information around. So this is, I said, write a blog post. So it's all here, right? So it says that, a number of tokens which were consumed, what is the model that was used, whether it was successful or not. All of those things are there. Right? And if you remember in chat and so there was a thumbs up and a thumbs down, right? So anytime a thumbs up is there or a thumbs down is there, it gets logged in, and you can actually go and see it. For example, if I go to analytics, I can actually see what are the thumbs up, thumbs downs, all of those things are there. Right? So these are the so let me click. So these are the top 10 questions which are being asked, and these are the sort of top 5 questions. These are the questions which are asked and answered. These are the questions which were asked but we will not answer, but the model was not able to answer that. So you can actually go ahead and then solve this problem. You see if the knowledge base is there, knowledge base has this answer. If it doesn't, then you can sort of solve that problem as well. So yeah, so this is an overview. There are many features. I think I've touched around 25% of what all this can do, but there's a lot more. I would love to give you a walkthrough of this, in context of your organization. You can look for me. You can write to us or just ping me on LinkedIn. Whatever works for you. I'm happy to walk you through this in its entirety. Right. Couple of questions that people had sort of DM'd us in terms of how does the costing work. So we work on a per user based costing where we don't charge you, we don't penalize you for using it more. We want you to use this to the hilt, right? So you just start off by telling us how many users you would have, and accordingly we create a package for you. Uh, it's fully customizable depending on how many users we're happy to work with you. This can be powered using any LLM like we saw. It could be an open source. If you actually say you're a bank or you deal with sensitive data, so you want to run this locally without internet access, that's completely possible. You can install the platform on your premises, and then you use an open source model to actually run Ace. There are some customers who are doing that. And yeah, if you saw there are a lot of connectors. If a connector isn't there and you want to connect to a legacy system where information resides, we have a team of people who can come in and do that as well. Yeah. So I hope this was useful, and I hope that we'll get to hear from a lot of you, and we'll be here. Thank you so much.